Welcome to Class with Skeul, where Black American history, news, and real issues are taught with clarity, structure, and purpose. This is not surface-level content. This is a timeline, a record, a correction. Every episode is built to teach what was done, what was fought for, and what was taken. From revolts to wars, from policy to resistance, we break it down so it can be understood, remembered, and never rewritten. Because history that isn't taught clearly can be distorted, and history that is distorted can be used against the people it belongs to. Here, we focus on accuracy, on connection, on truth. Not just to inform, but to preserve. Not just to explain, but to expose. Because this isn't just about the past. It's about understanding the present and recognizing what continues. Each video is part of a larger structure, so nothing is isolated and nothing is forgotten. Stay focused, stay aware, stay connected. Cry aloud, spare not. Lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and shew my people their transgression, and the house of Jacob their sins. Isaiah 58:1.
Episode 3.6, The Louisiana Revolt, 1811. Part 1, The Largest Uprising. By 1811, the system of slavery in the United States had grown stronger and more dangerous. In Louisiana, it was especially intense. The region had recently been acquired by the United States through the Louisiana Purchase, but its structure was still shaped by French and Spanish rule, where large plantations dominated the land and enslaved black labor drove the economy. Sugar production was expanding, and sugar demanded control. Long hours, harsh conditions, constant surveillance. But beneath that system, something was building. In January of 1811, along the German coast, just outside New Orleans, that pressure turned into action. The uprising began on a plantation owned by Manuel André. A group of enslaved black men rose up, led by a man named Charles Deslondes. This was not random. It was organized. They targeted leadership first, neutralizing control, and then began to move. Their objective was clear: advance toward New Orleans. As they moved, they gathered others. From plantation to plantation, their numbers grew, eventually reaching somewhere between 200 and 500 participants. They were not marching quietly. They carried tools, some weapons, and a purpose. They burned plantations, destroyed property, disrupted the system that depended on their labor. This was more than revolt. This was movement. And it followed a pattern that had been building for decades, seen in earlier uprisings like Stono, but now on a larger scale. There was also another influence present. Many people in Louisiana were connected, directly or indirectly, to the Haitian Revolution. They had seen or heard about a successful uprising where enslaved people overthrew a system and created their own nation. That knowledge mattered. It expanded what people believed was possible. So this wasn't just local resistance. It was part of a broader understanding. Freedom could be taken, and it could be defended. As the group moved closer to New Orleans, they represented something the system could not ignore: scale, coordination, momentum. And for a brief moment, the balance shifted.
If you've made it this far, you're not just watching. You're following Black American warrior history in its full timeline. On Class with Skeul, every episode connects, showing resistance, strategy, and power across generations. If you're tapped in, support the channel. Hit like so more people see this. Subscribe so you don't miss what's next. Turn on the notification bell so you're there when it drops. And share this with someone who needs the full story, not just pieces. This isn't random content. It's a structured history. Stay locked in. The next episode goes deeper.
Part 2. Suppression and Signal. As the uprising advanced, plantation owners and local authorities moved quickly. Militia forces were organized. Plantation militias joined in, and U.S. troops were deployed to stop the march before it reached New Orleans. What followed was a series of violent confrontations. The rebels fought, but they were outmatched in weapons and military structure. Many were killed during the clashes. Others were captured as the movement was broken apart. The revolt was suppressed, but the response did not end there. It escalated. Those who were captured faced brutal consequences. Executions were carried out publicly. Bodies were displayed. Heads were placed along the river road as a warning to others. The message was clear. Resistance would be punished. But that kind of response reveals something important. It shows fear. Because systems do not react with that level of force unless they feel threatened. And this revolt was a threat. It was the largest slave uprising in United States history. It demonstrated organization on a scale that had not been seen before. It showed that hundreds of people could coordinate movement, build momentum, and challenge the system directly. Even though it did not succeed in reaching its final objective, its impact was immediate. Control tightened. Surveillance increased. Restrictions grew stronger. But at the same time, something else spread: awareness. The idea that resistance could be organized at scale, that it could move, that it could grow, and that it could challenge the system in a direct way. This moment connects to everything that comes next, because just 1 year later, during the War of 1812, the same patterns would appear again: opportunity created by conflict, movement toward freedom, strategic alignment with larger forces. The Louisiana Revolt did not end the system, but it pushed it. It exposed its weaknesses, and it forced it to respond. Because by 1811, one thing was clear: resistance was no longer isolated. It was expanding, and it was becoming more organized with each generation. The next phase was coming, and it would take that organization even further.
If you made it to the end, stay tapped in. Like this video so it reaches more people. Subscribe to Class with Skeul for the full timeline. Turn on notifications so you don't miss what's next. Drop a comment. What stood out, what should be added, and what you want covered next.